At the Heritage Centre in Moorton, there is a storeroom filled with tiny boxes. Each box is a keepsake filled by the family of one of the town's deceased residents, a tribute to them, who they were, and the memories they might want to pass on to future generations. In essence, each box works like a time capsule, capturing not the moment in time, but something of that person's moment in time and their moment in Moorton. The storeroom itself is lined with shelves, with pile on pile of boxes in all shapes, sizes and materials. Some are simple pine or cardboard, others the sort of document boxes you'd buy at your local stationer's, others are ornate jewellery boxes, carved cigar boxes of oak and mahogany, at least 2 are made of silver. Inside each is a collection of objects, documents and relics belonging to or pertaining to that person and their role in Moorton, showing something of what that individual contributed to the town or sharing a particular story. The boxes are piled like bricks, each brick a story that makes up a larger of stories and the larger narrative of the town. One of those stories, the one in the box belonging to the former curator of the Heritage Centre, stands out more than the others. That box has been in a drawer in my desk for years, just in case the things it said ever happened again. Unfortunately, it seems that ever is now. These are just some of the documents contained within that box. It will not take the reader long to see the story that they make up. 12th February 1974, extract from the Moorton Herald, page 4, Mad Dogs Blamed for Missing Livestock, by Dale Taunton. A formal complaint and petition was filed Saturday by members of the Moorton Agricultural Workers Union, demanding action be taken by the council to combat the threat to livestock posed by packs of local dogs. According to the petition, signed by over 60 union members and farmers from the local area, not enough is being done to address growing concerns in Moorton and the surrounding areas about the threat posed by these animals to sheep and cattle grazing. According to reports, these canines are believed to have been strays from the town that have wandered onto the moors before they could be picked up and impounded by the authorities. The animals, which farmers say must be very large breeds such as mastiffs or rottweilers, and thought to be travelling in packs, are said to have been responsible for the sharp increase in losses by sheep farmers on the moorland surrounding the town. On several occasions, lambs and even older sheep have been found mutilated and partially consumed. One union member, Mr. D. Phillips of Coverton Farm, was quoted as saying that it's absolutely ridiculous that we should have to put up with this kind of damage to our livelihoods. There should be something done about licensing dogs and keeping control of the larger breeds that could be dangerous to livestock and to people. Asked what measures they had put in place to combat the problem, members of the union stated that they had reinforced fences and barriers with barbed wire and had renewed their shotgun permits. Commenting on the latter measure, Mr. Donald Cliff stated, "Believe me, the last thing I want to be doing in the middle of the night is shooting some poor fella's dog, but if they can't keep them under control, this is what we'll have to resort to. I've lost 2 ewes already, and I can't keep losing stock like that. It's my livelihood, you see." No members of the Moorton Council addressing the issue were available for comment. 19th of February 1974, extract from the Moorton Herald, page 5, Howling Town, by Mike Nielsen. Residents of Moorton expressed concern this week after many were disturbed by strange sounds echoing across town in the early hours of the morning. The cries, described by one witness as baying, like dogs do when they're hungry or frustrated, and by another as, like something from a Hammer horror film, were heard for 4 days from the 11th to the 14th of September, keeping residents awake and scaring a number of children. Attempts to identify the source of the strange calls have thus far failed, though some speculate it could be blamed upon the packs of stray dogs alleged to be roaming the farmland and moors close to town. Other suggestions that the sounds could be a wild animal escaped from a zoo have been dismissed, as no zoos or menageries in the vicinity have reported lost animals. Letter from Dr. Alfred Hayes to Chief Inspector Wale Moorton. 21st February 1974. Dear Paul, further to our conversation yesterday regarding the killing of livestock in and around Moorton, and my subsequent examination of the carcasses, I am formally submitting my request for a hunting party to be sent onto the moorland and for a curfew to be enforced after dark for the foreseeable future. Whilst I realise this sounds like an extreme measure, and that both you and the administration of the town will have great reservations about the possibility of causing a panic, I assure you that in my professional opinion, such a measure is absolutely necessary. Whilst the local farmers might account for the extensive damage by insisting that the sheep were attacked by an entire pack of large dogs, I could find no evidence in my examinations to support such an idea. Rather, it is my suspicion and conclusion that the animals were not only hunted by a single animal, but also by a predator much larger than any domestic dog. Indeed, the measurements I took at the scene of the bite marks seemed to suggest damage more in keeping with what might be inflicted by a large bear, a hyena, or even a lion. For confirmation of this, we need look no further than the fact that the animal's vertebrae were entirely crushed in the predator's jaws, whilst another had a cavity through its skull caused by a canine tooth of at least 14 centimeters in length. As I'm sure you will appreciate, that is not consistent with an attack by one or indeed by several dogs. Whilst I cannot at this point say for certain that one of the above-named species is responsible for the damage, I would suggest caution in believing zoos cautious to avoid responsibility when they say that they have not lost any of their specimens. I would also suggest that even the slightest possibility that we have a wild animal roaming the fields above Moorton should be enough to keep pets, children, and the elderly indoors after nightfall. Yours, Dr. A. Hayes. Later photocopy of a handwritten diary entry. 20th of February 1974, donated by Michael Phillips, then aged 11. Me, Mum and Dad were arguing a lot and shouting tonight. Dad says he's got to go and take some stuff over to Grandma Jean's, but my mum doesn't want him to go because of the noises and because the lights are all off and stuff. Having the candles was a bit exciting at first, but now the house is bloody freezing and you can't see where you're going. My dad had to come up the stairs with us before bed just so we could see where we were going, and writing this in the dark is dead hard because there's not enough light to do it. I can hear them shouting again downstairs, and my dad says he's got to go take the stuff and that my mum should stop mithering him. He's gonna go. I know why. Mum didn't want him to go. I don't want him to go. I can hear the howling outside. Everybody can. I hate that noise. It makes me get butterflies in my belly every time I hear it. My mum says we're safe inside and that it's probably just dogs, but when she says it, she does that looking away thing she does when she's telling fibs. I know she's lying. I hope she doesn't do that looking away thing when she says we're safe. If she does, then I'll be really scared. I'm wrapped up in my blanket now because it's bloody cold here, but the sounds are still coming. My dad is going to Grandma Jean's. I've heard the door go. I'm going to stay awake tonight to make sure he comes back. Please, please, please let him come back. Letter Dr. A. Hayes to Chief Inspector Paul Whale, 21st of February 1974. Dear Paul, I am writing to again ask that you speak to your superiors and try to impose a curfew, not just on the blackout nights, but every night until whatever is out there is caught. I appreciate you are trying to persuade them, but I cannot stress enough the urgency of this matter. This morning I received a call from Andersley, who I think you know is a dairy farmer. 2 of his cows, not 1 but 2, were attacked last night. The throat of one was ripped out, whilst most of the back legs and stomach of the other were removed completely and eaten. These are cows, Paul. Cows, not sheep that some stray dog could attack and bring down. Big, strong animals that can kick and fight back. I've seen cases where cows have been injured by dogs, worried or harassed into injuries or having their legs bitten and snapped at. This was not that. Let me be 100% unequivocally clear here. A dog did not do this, Paul. A dog could not do this. You must order a curfew and insist that people remain indoors after dark. Yours, Alfred. It isn't until the man compiled these documents, the man who would have been 14 at the time, writes in his own diary that the word wolf appears anywhere in them. Even then, even after the howls had rung out over Moorton for the whole of the full moon period across 2 consecutive months. Even after the sheep and the cows had been mutilated and eaten, even after the doctor's warnings and the residents locking their doors, terrified when their husbands leave the house at night, even then, he only calls it a wolf. Wolf is what he has written, but you get the feeling reading his words that werewolf is what he means.